The first time I visited this park, I thought it was just a beautiful place to relax. But the more I learn about El Salvador's history, the more I'm seeing that this park tells a much deeper story. And today, I'm revisiting it. What surprised me about this place isn't the landscaping or the monuments. It's learning how this place reflects El Salvador's transformation. A place where people couldn't even gather before is now where people come together, relax, and enjoy their afternoon.
This is Parque Cuscatlan. The first thing I noticed is just how many people are here. Families everywhere, kids playing around, tourists pausing to take it all in. It's a kind of ordinary you don't think to film until you remember it wasn't always like this. Not long ago, this park was somewhere people avoided, not gathered in. Now, it's safe enough that nobody here is thinking about safety at all. And that, more than anything else, is what's changed. The statues are what catch you next. Scattered through the park. El Reencuentro is the one that stays with you the longest. A family, mid-embrace, standing in front of it. It's not hard to read it as something bigger than art, a tribute to every Salvadorian family split apart by migration and every union still waiting to happen. Roughly a third of Salvadorians live outside the country today, some estimate even more. However you read the statue, it's hard not to think of someone. It's not the only thing here asking to be remembered. Nearby, the park turns quieter, heavier. A long wall of black granite, engraved end to end with names. This is the Momento a la Memoria y la Verdad. Tens of thousands of names, people killed or disappeared during the Civil War. It's not tucked away behind the museum glass. It sits in the middle of the park, where children are playing a few feet away. Memory and daily life sharing the same ground. On purpose. Then the tone shifts again, into color, murals everywhere. Graffiti that isn't vandalism, it's a gallery. These stairs, painted like the Torogos, a turquoise-browed motmot that serves as the national bird of El Salvador. It's a bird that cannot survive in captivity. It has to be free, or it dies. And its tail feathers, if they're damaged, grow back. I don't think that's an accident as a symbol in this particular country, in this particular park. When you look closely, every corner of this place is telling a story. It's in the granite, the paint, the grass beneath your feet. El Salvador didn't build this park to hide its past. They built it so the future could play right alongside it. And that is exactly what you were watching. The stillness of the park drops away the second you step into a San Salvador bus. This is life in high gear, loud, colorful, and always moving. Strangely, this is the same narrative as the park, just captured in motion. It's a city learning how to live out loud again, navigating the streets without looking over its shoulder.
Now, you can't talk about El Salvador without talking about pupusas. And for me, it's more than just food. It's a way to understand the culture.
This is a pupusa, corn dough stuffed, sealed, flattened by hand, and cooked on a hot comal until the edges puff up. The smell alone pulls you in before you even see the stand. Pupusas go back roughly 2,000 years to the Pipil people. Long before this country had its current name. The recipe has quietly adopted ever since, picking up cheese and pork after the Spanish arrived, leaning on rice flour in places where corn ran scarce. The shape stayed the same. What's inside kept adjusting to whatever the moment demanded. Today, it's sold everywhere to keep the tradition alive. It's cheap, fast, and the ultimate equalizer. Everyone eats the same papusa. It's less of a dish, or more like a country's culinary soul.
If park tells the story of a nation's past, libraries tell the story of a country's future. And one thing I learned about El Salvador is that investing in places where people can gather, grow, and learn.
This is El Salvador's National Library. The first thing you need to know is that it's open 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. No other national library on the planet does that. It costs around $54 million to build, 7 floors, and it's not what you picture when you hear the word library. Yes, there are hundreds of thousands of books, shelves of them, stretching floor to floor. But keep walking. You'll find yourself standing in front of lifestyle stand-ups, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, DC Comics, Harry Potter, characters kids recognize before they even recognize the names on the bookshelf. That mix, ancient stories on the shelf, pop culture down the hall, that's deliberate. It's saying, knowledge isn't just for the serious and wealthy. It's for the kid who's only here because he loves Star Wars. If that kid ends up walking past a shelf of books on his way out, the building did its job. If the park is where this country is processing its past, this library is where it's betting on its future.
The first time I came here, I saw a park. But this time, I see a story about a country's history, community, transformation. And I've learned that sometimes travel isn't about what you see. It's about the lessons and the transformation you have after you experience it.
A street that used to feel dangerous to walk down. A dish that survived 2,000 years of upheaval by simply changing what's inside without ever changing what it means. A library that's betting its future on a kid who just wanted to see Superman. None of these are about El Salvador trying to impress a tourist. They're about a country deciding, piece by piece, what it wants to be next. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Not for El Salvador, but for anywhere going through its own version of this. Transformation usually doesn't look like a single dramatic moment. It looks like a park reopening, a bus ride that doesn't feel risky anymore, a new shelf of books, small, unglamorous, repeated decisions to build something worth showing up for. I came here looking for a park, and I'm leaving with a question. One I think is worth carrying into the next place I go to. What does it take for a place to feel safe enough and hopeful enough for people to gather in it again?